Hi, it's Michael Bossack, talking to you from a very busy Air Canada lounge before boarding that bird behind me to Asia. So that's why I'm doing a world briefing in a little bit of a different format today. But you get to see me live and fellow passengers behind me. Anyway, of course, a number of big topics today, but the biggest one, at least from my point of view, is the Ukraine-Russia talks, which ended a few hours ago in Istanbul. There was a period of time where we thought it would never happen, but it was really because of pressure from Turkey on one side and America on the other that the talks did happen. The big takeaway from there is that both sides have agreed to swap 1,000 prisoners of war. That is the biggest exchange of POWs since the start of the war 3 years ago. And also, it needs to be said that these are the first face to face talks since the first weeks of the war. Much different environment at that time, meaning that it was around the time where Russia was still within kilometers of Kiev. Also, that we started to hear first the atrocities coming out of Bucha in Ukraine. The fact that two sides met from the Ukrainian side, headed by Defense Minister Umerov, and I also noticed, very interestingly, Ukraine's former ambassador to the UN, Sergei Kyslytsya, a very seasoned diplomat, seasoned negotiator. He sat at the same table as us in the OSCE in the lead up to the war, actually, at the Ukrainian Foreign Ministry. And I'll never forget his kind of savvy negotiating and the way he kind of stare down the Russian side. So it was really good to see him there. The Ukrainian side has also come a distance in saying that they want Mr. Zelensky to meet with Mr. Putin. The Russian side said they will take note of that. But also coming out of sources from both Ukraine and Turkey is the Russians, not surprisingly, made demands that are unacceptable to Ukraine. We take that to mean that they want to hold on to the four oblasts that they partially control, namely Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. That's unacceptable to any Ukrainian president. It would consign millions of Ukrainians to Russian occupation. And also a reminder that Zaporizhia is the site of the biggest power plant in Europe, Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. No go. They probably also said we want international recognition for Crimea. We want Ukraine to limit the size of its military. We want it to cancel its NATO ambitions. These are all non-starter for the Ukraine, non-starters. I think the other positive that happened from this, aside from the two sides meeting, agreeing on a big prisoner swap, we call that confidence building measures in the business, is that Turkey played a central role. They sat in the middle of the room between the two sides. They are trusted by the Russians, the Ukrainians. They have huge interest, of course, in Black Sea security. And they're also, of course, one foot in Asia, one foot in Europe. They have huge economic interests in Ukraine. They want this war to end. So, as I've been saying for a long time now, far better that Turkey or perhaps a Gulf country replace the United States, which is not an impartial player in all of this, especially under the Trump administration, that Turkey or Gulf state take the mediator role. That's what happened today. And that's a very positive development. They gave all the signals that they plan to stay put in this role, and that future talks, we don't know when that will happen and what level will happen in Turkey. The Ukrainian, the Ukrainian side was also justifiably critical of the individuals that Russia sent. They were not high level, and but they did seem to have some sort of authority, because we're told they didn't leave the room to get, for example, approval of the prisoner swap. So that's where it is right now. The only other thing I'm going to add, and you can hear more of what I think and how my thinking may evolve between now and Sunday on CBC Radio, the Sunday show with the wonderful Pia Chattopadhyay. I've been on with her several times, so that starts at 9 a.m. Across Canada. So please tune in. Also, I'll be late afternoon, I believe it is. The other thing I'm going to say here, so President Zelensky is now in Tirana at a meeting of EU leaders, and he held talks today with the leaders of the UK, France, Germany, and Poland. And once again, they placed a call to President Trump. So they have reaffirmed that if Putin does not come to the peace table, so to speak, that they will deploy powerful, painful sanctions. I think the problem there is that there's not many tools left in the tool shed for them to pull that would really hurt Russia. What will hurt Russia, let me be very, very clear on this, are very punishing sanctions from the countries where the Russians have been receiving a red carpet. The UAE, Turkey, Thailand. And then there are other countries, one or two that I will not name in Africa, which have been playing a role along with Thailand in terms of helping Russia receive aviation parts to keep their civil and military aviation systems going. That needs to stop. The UAE, especially Dubai, needs to pull the red carpet out from under the feet of rich oligarchs connected with President Putin. They're one of the biggest, if not the biggest, purchasers of luxury property in Dubai. They park their yachts there. Hundreds of thousands of Russian tourists every year come to Thailand. A lot of people have bought property there. They're staying there for the long term. That noose could also be tightened. So my feeling is, unless that happens, Russia's going to keep on going. A couple more quick things before I end. We have seen Mr. Trump say today the only way this war will end if I meet with Mr. Putin. Well, a few days ago, he said that the United States is going to step away from this crisis because it isn't going anywhere. So that was a very interesting development. I think he should keep his distance, but at the same time, it's very, very important that the United States continue with military assistance and, of course, intelligence, things like that. There is pressure, finally, on Mr. Zelensky. Things are not going well at the front line. If you read the updates from the very highly respected Institute for the Study of War, talk to journalists who are very familiar with what's happening at the front, it looks like the Russians are closing in on Pokrovsk, the key city, but also getting closer to very, very key city, Konstantinovka. If they get that, it's not going to be a very good development. So you would think that Mr. Zelensky would also give some thought to a full mobilization. We heard the other day on a talk sponsored by the Daily Telegraph that there just aren't enough hands at the front line even to operate drone operations. Full mobilization, maybe even lowering the age to be more in sync with NATO countries. It's a tough decision, but it's one that probably has to be made at this point. So I'm going to end on that, and I'll pick up the other headlines of the day once I'm in Asia. Thank you for your support of World Briefing. If you're a subscriber, please consider upgrading to a paid subscription. Every subscription, no matter how big or small, helps fuel my reporting and commentary mission. You'll get exclusive content nobody else gets. And it also indirectly helps support Global Impact, the show that I founded, which has been relaunched and now focuses on talking to amazing reporters and correspondents out in the field, and also the people who deliver the news, the people behind the anchor presenter's desk. So we have an incredible lineup, just who can't wait to get on. And in the meantime, please have a listen either on audio or watch the video version of my fascinating discussion with the BBC's South Asia and Afghanistan correspondent, Yogita Leme. Thank you so much. Happy weekend to those who have a long weekend. Have a great and safe weekend.